Yo guys, welcome to RenderRam and welcome to part 2 of how to speed up your render times. This is the interior that I created a while ago, and for this one I needed to create a custom top array or poof, and the reference image is this one. Now you can see it's a velvet one, it has all these wrinkles and everything, but the problem is I was really on a tight deadline with my project and I needed this object to be as realistic as possible in the shortest amount of time. So what I did, I roughly modeled the whole thing from an image, and instead of messing with, the velvet shader and everything, I realized one thing, and that is that if you take a closer look at the image, you will see that the perspective of the image closely matches my scene. Not only that, but the light also matches. You can see you have these dark shadowy parts here, so I decided to take this image and directly place it on top of my object with the UV planner mode. So you can see when I move the UV, this is literally an image that I'm using, and when I hit render, my render looked like this. Now when it comes to speeding up your render, nothing will render faster than a material with only one texture, except of course material without any texture. And if you look at my material editor here, this is my material. I only have a raw texture plugged into my material through some color correction, but as you can see, there is no bumps or anything like that that will additionally kill the render. So remember, whenever you need to model any type of object, and when you see the reference how that object looks, always try to kind of figure out if you can maybe directly use that image and place it in your render. Sometimes this will save you tons of time. And for me to complete this tab array from model to final render, it took me about 6 or 7 minutes or something like that. Another thing to consider is, for example, if you have a scenario like this, where you have some objects in the foreground, and if you want those objects to have kind of slight depth of field or something, so instead of rendering an actual depth of field in your whole image, which will slow down the render times, etc., you can just render this part separately, like this, and it doesn't even need to be fully denoised. Then render your room without those foreground objects, and transfer it all to Photoshop. Place your foreground object in the image, like this, and then you just apply some sort of blur to your extra layer and simulate the doff effect. So this other rendering technique is kind of a black magic. So whenever you're on extremely tight deadline and you need to deliver thousands of images, there is one hack that you can do. So this image I need to render in 2500 pixels in width. So what you can do, you can render an image 2 times smaller resolution, like 1250, just render it completely like this, and use the power of AI to upscale your images. I'm using Topaz Gigapixel for this. Now when I drag my room image, which is 1250 pixels, it will automatically scale it up 2 times to the resolution of 2500, and this is the final result. As you can see, everything is sharp, there is no pixelated elements. You did lose a little bit on the quality, but unless you're comparing it to fully rendered 2500 pixel image, it's hard to notice any difference. And that's it for today, guys. I hope you learned something new. Keep your render times even lower this time, and see you in the next video. Bye!